English dominates the world's communication, a universal tongue bridging continents and cultures. What few realize is that this phenomenon echoes an ancient biblical narrative, challenging humanity's very understanding of divine order. Is this global speech a reversal of Babel, or something far more profound? It all starts in the book of Genesis. After the great flood, God gave humanity a fresh start. As the survivors journeyed eastward, they discovered a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. The scripture reveals a singular reality. Now the whole earth had one language and one common speech. A unified humanity, bound by a single tongue, sharing not just words but a common purpose, a singular vision for their future. This linguistic unity fostered an unprecedented collective strength, a power that would soon be turned toward an ambition that defied divine command. United by their singular language, humanity declared a bold, defiant purpose. Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. They refined their craft, using brick for stone and asphalt for mortar, laying the foundations for a monumental city and a colossal tower. This was no mere construction project. It was a testament to human pride, a collective aspiration to reach beyond earthly bounds, to establish their own legacy, their own renown. Their motive was clear: to consolidate their power, to resist dispersion, and to forge a destiny independent of their Creator's original command to fill the earth. From his celestial vantage, God observed this burgeoning monument to human will. Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. A unified humanity, unchecked in its ambition, posed a profound spiritual threat. In a decisive act of divine authority, God declared, "Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." Instantly, the common tongue fractured into a cacophony of unintelligible sounds. Construction halted, plans dissolved into confusion, and the once unified endeavor crumbled into bewildered silence. The divine judgment at Babel was swift and absolute. The colossal, unfinished tower, a monument to human defiance, stood abandoned, a silent testament to a disrupted ambition. No longer could the builders understand one another. Their grand project of a unified human kingdom, reaching for the heavens, ground to a halt. The immediate consequence was humanity scattering across the face of the whole earth, precisely what they had sought to prevent. Families and clans, now speaking newly confused tongues, were compelled to disperse, moving apart, seeking those who shared their incomprehensible sounds. This forced migration, this sudden and radical diversification, was not merely a punishment. It was the direct fulfillment of God's original command to Noah's descendants: "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." Thus, from the plains of Shinar, the distinct nations of the world began to take form, each with its own language, its own identity, and its own territory. Yet, this divine intervention at Babel was more than a judgment. It was a profound act of mercy, a strategic move within God's greater plan. Had humanity remained a single, unified entity, with one language and one purpose, their capacity for collective wickedness would have been unchecked. Their rebellion against God, absolute and universal, the Lord himself observed. Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. This statement reveals a crucial theological insight. Linguistic and cultural diversity serves as a safeguard. It prevents the rise of a monolithic, unchallengeable human system, a singular power structure capable of universal rebellion. By dividing their tongues, God introduced a natural barrier to absolute human power, ensuring accountability and preventing the total corruption of all mankind. This was God's design in diversity, a wisdom far beyond human understanding. For millennia, this divinely ordained linguistic diversity has been the enduring reality of our world. From the ancient empires of Sumer and Egypt to the vast civilizations of China and Rome, a multitude of languages has echoed across continents, each a unique expression of human thought and culture. Countless tongues have risen, evolved, and, in some cases, faded, but never has humanity returned to a single, universal speech. This intricate tapestry of languages has given rise to an unparalleled richness of human expression, diverse traditions, and unique ways of understanding the world. It is the lingering echo of Babel, a testament to God's sovereign act, shaping human history for thousands of years. This mosaic of languages, each carrying its own stories and wisdom, has been the norm, a foundational element of global society, profoundly influencing the trajectory of nations and peoples. But in our modern era, an unprecedented shift has occurred, challenging this millennia-old paradigm. English, once confined to a small island, has transcended its origins to become the undisputed global lingua franca. From bustling international conference halls to quiet classrooms in remote villages, English is taught, spoken, and demanded. We stand at a unique historical juncture, witnessing a linguistic unification on a scale never before seen since Babel. Is this extraordinary phenomenon merely a practical convenience, a natural evolution of global connectivity? Or does it represent something far deeper, perhaps even a reversal of God's ancient intervention? The paradox of modern unity, achieved through a single dominant tongue, compels us to ask, is this a new chapter in humanity's story, or an echo of an ancient ambition, setting the stage for events whispered in prophecy? Centuries after the divine confusion at Babel, the seeds of a new global tongue were quietly sown on a distant, fog-shrouded island. The story of English, the world's most dominant language, begins not in grand design, but in the tumultuous arrival of seafaring invaders. In the 5th century, as the Roman Empire receded from Britain, new Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, crossed the North Sea. They brought with them a collection of dialects, rough and resonant, that would coalesce on British soil. From this linguistic crucible emerged what we now call Old English, a language far removed from its modern descendant, rich with guttural sounds and complex inflections. It was the tongue of warriors and poets, famously captured in the epic sagas like Beowulf, a testament to its foundational power. This was the nascent voice of a language destined for global reach, yet still confined to its island cradle. The subsequent centuries brought a profound shift that would forever reshape this emerging tongue. In 1066, William the Conqueror led his Norman forces across the Channel, vanquishing the Anglo-Saxon kingdom at the Battle of Hastings. With the Norman conquest came a new ruling class, speaking Norman French, a sophisticated Romance language infused with Latin. For nearly 3 centuries, French dominated the courts, the law, and the nobility, while Old English persisted among the common people. Yet, rather than obliterating the native tongue, this linguistic stratification fostered an extraordinary fusion. French and Latin words poured into English, enriching its vocabulary, softening its grammar, and transforming it into Middle English. It was a language of vibrant hybridity, immortalized by Geoffrey Chaucer, whose tales captured the diverse voices of a new, evolving England. As the Renaissance dawned, English stood on the cusp of its true blossoming, and one man, above all others, would sculpt its form and expand its expressive power. William Shakespeare, the Bard of Avon, emerged in Elizabethan England not merely as a playwright, but as a linguistic architect. Through his prolific works, he introduced thousands of new words and phrases that seamlessly entered the lexicon, shaping the very way English speakers would think and communicate for centuries to come. Simultaneously, another monumental work, the King James Bible, published in 1611, solidified the language's structure and elevated its prose, embedding its rhythms and idioms deeply into the cultural consciousness. This period of intense creativity forged early modern English, a language both flexible and potent, ready to embark on its global journey. The stage was now set for English to burst forth from its island home, propelled by an unprecedented force of global expansion. The 18th and 19th centuries witnessed the relentless march of the British Empire, an entity so vast it was famously said that the sun never sets on the British Empire. From the Americas to Asia, Africa to Australia, British dominion spread, and with it, the English language. It was no longer merely a tongue of convenience. It became the language of power, administration, and aspiration. Colonial administrators, missionaries, and merchants carried English to every corner of the globe, establishing it as the official language of government, law, and education in countless territories. This was the initial, forceful dissemination, laying the groundwork for its future, even greater, dominance. The embedding of English within these vast colonial territories was not accidental. It was a deliberate policy that yielded lasting consequences. Education systems were reformed to teach English, creating generations of local populations who learned the language as a gateway to opportunity and advancement. In India, in parts of Africa, and across North America, English became the medium through which governments operated, laws were enacted, and higher education was pursued. For many, proficiency in English became a prerequisite for social mobility and participation in the new imperial order. The imposition of English, while often resisted, created an enduring linguistic legacy, ensuring that even after independence the language continued to serve as a vital link within and between newly sovereign nations. Beyond direct administration and education, the relentless engine of global commerce further cemented English's international standing. As the British Empire expanded its trading networks, from the East India Company's vast operations to burgeoning global markets, English emerged as the undeniable lingua franca of trade. Contracts were written in English, negotiations were conducted in English, and the ledgers of international finance were kept in English. Merchant ships crisscrossed the oceans, carrying not just goods, but also the English language, making it the practical, indispensable tool for global transactions. This commercial imperative, driven by the era's economic giants, solidified English's utility and ensured its propagation far beyond the direct reach of colonial governance, setting the stage for even greater influence in the centuries to come. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, a new force began to reshape the world: the Industrial Revolution. Its engines roared first in Britain, then swiftly across the Atlantic to America, bringing forth unprecedented scientific advancements and technological marvels. From the whirring of factory machinery to the intricate diagrams of new inventions, a fresh lexicon was born. English became the unavoidable language of this progress. Scientific journals, international conferences, and groundbreaking research, from physics to medicine, increasingly published and communicated their findings in English. New technical terms like electricity, automobile, and telephone, coined in English-speaking laboratories and workshops, rapidly entered the global vocabulary, becoming universal standards and anchoring the language to the very essence of modern innovation. Yet the true global ascent of English was inextricably linked to the rise of a new superpower. After the devastation of 2 world wars, the United States emerged as the dominant economic and cultural force, shifting the epicenter of global influence. The Bretton Woods system established the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency, intertwining global finance with American power. This economic hegemony was mirrored by a burgeoning cultural might. Hollywood's cinematic narratives captivated audiences worldwide. Jazz music transcended borders, and American consumer brands became symbols of aspiration. This soft power radiated across continents, making English not just a language of utility, but one of desire, associated with progress, modernity, and opportunity. The mid-20th century, scarred by global conflicts, desperately sought new frameworks for peace and cooperation. In this fractured world, English stepped forward as a crucial instrument of diplomacy. From the peace treaties that reshaped nations to the founding of international organizations like the United Nations, English became a primary working language. It was perceived as a pragmatic, relatively neutral choice, facilitating dialogue between nations with vastly different mother tongues. The urgent need for common ground in a world teetering on the brink of another war made English the de facto language of international relations, cementing its position not just in trade or science, but in the very architecture of global governance. Then came a revolution of an entirely different kind, the digital age. In the late 20th century, in the nascent computer labs and Silicon Valley garages of English-speaking nations, the very foundations of the Internet and computing were laid. Programming languages, the building blocks of this new digital realm, were predominantly based on English. Early Internet protocols, user interfaces, and fundamental commands were all conceived and executed in English. As digital technology exploded across the globe, it carried English with it, embedding it deep within the very fabric of connectivity. To engage with this new world, to access its burgeoning information, meant engaging with English. Today, English reigns supreme as the undisputed lingua franca of the Internet and global communication. From the websites we browse to the social media platforms that connect billions, English forms the bedrock of online interaction. To navigate the vast oceans of digital information, to participate in global forums, or simply to understand viral trends, English is no longer merely an advantage. It is often a prerequisite. This omnipresence in the digital sphere has a dual nature. It democratizes access to information for those who speak it, yet simultaneously establishes a homogenizing influence, ensuring that a significant portion of global discourse occurs within its linguistic framework. Beyond the digital realm, English's influence is pervasive in the vibrant world of pop culture and entertainment. Hollywood cinematic productions dominate global box offices. English-language music artists command universal appeal, and television series produced in English reach billions through streaming platforms. This cultural magnetism has made English familiar and desirable, often inspiring non-native speakers to learn the language to fully appreciate their favorite media. It is a powerful, subtle force, shaping tastes, disseminating ideas, and solidifying English's place not just as a practical tool, but as an aspirational cultural touchstone across every continent. After millennia of linguistic division, a new phenomenon has emerged, one that seemingly reverses the ancient decree of Babel, the astonishing rise of English as the world's primary lingua franca. In the bustling international airports where voices from every corner of the globe converge, or within the high-stakes offices of multinational corporations, English serves as the indispensable bridge. It enables seamless communication between individuals from vastly diverse linguistic backgrounds, making global collaboration not just possible but efficient. From urgent humanitarian aid efforts coordinating relief across borders to scientific teams sharing critical data in real time, the practical necessity of a common language for rapid information exchange is undeniable. English has become the universal solvent, dissolving communication barriers in critical situations and fostering a new, interconnected dialogue across the planet. This linguistic dominance extends profoundly into the economic sphere, transforming the landscape of global trade and finance. On the flashing screens of stock exchanges in New York, London, and Tokyo, or within the intense negotiations of international business deals, English operates as the default language. It is the language of venture capitalists and Silicon Valley startups seeking global investment and of commodity traders navigating markets from Shanghai to Sao Paulo. For individuals and entire nations, proficiency in English provides a significant economic advantage, opening doors to global markets, career opportunities, and a competitive edge in an increasingly integrated world economy. The material benefits are clear. English fluency translates directly into access and influence, making it a powerful currency in the global marketplace. Beyond commerce, English has solidified its position as the undisputed language of academia and scientific research. In the hallowed halls of universities and the cutting-edge environments of research laboratories worldwide, English facilitates the rapid dissemination of knowledge and fosters unparalleled international collaboration. The vast majority of peer-reviewed scientific journals are published in English, making it the essential medium for sharing groundbreaking discoveries and theoretical advancements. Scientists from disparate cultures, united by a common linguistic framework, can work together on complex global challenges, from climate change to medical breakthroughs. This shared tongue ensures that the relentless march of human knowledge, much like a powerful river, flows unimpeded across continents, enriching the collective intellectual heritage of humanity. Yet the influence of English is not solely confined to the realms of practicality and intellect. It also profoundly impacts cultural exchange. While its dominance raises questions of homogenization, English paradoxically serves as a powerful bridge for sharing diverse cultures with a global audience. Non-English-speaking artists, musicians, and filmmakers often utilize English to reach a wider international following, allowing their unique cultural expressions to transcend linguistic boundaries. The translation of literature and media into English provides millions with access to stories and perspectives they might otherwise never encounter. In art galleries, music festivals, and literary events worldwide, English acts as a conduit, enabling a richer, more expansive global cultural dialogue, fostering understanding and appreciation across different ways of life. However, this widespread utility comes with a stark and often uncomfortable reality: the cost of not knowing. For those without English proficiency, the globalized world presents significant barriers. It can mean limited access to higher education, restricted career advancement, and immense difficulties in international travel or fully engaging with the digital world. Individuals from non-English speaking backgrounds often face exclusion, struggling to navigate systems and access information that is predominantly presented in English. This growing pressure to learn English, often for sheer survival in a competitive landscape, creates a new form of inequality, leaving many behind and fostering a sense of frustration and missed opportunities in an otherwise interconnected world. So, is this global linguistic unity a necessary evil, a convenient solution to the complexities of a multi-tongued world? The undeniable utility of English, its role in communication, commerce, and knowledge sharing, is clear. Yet a deeper, more uncomfortable reality lingers. We are compelled to ask whether the immense benefits of this single global language ultimately outweigh its potential, less visible costs. This is the crucial pivot, the moment we move beyond the practical advantages to explore the subtle, yet profound, impacts of English's dominance. For what lies beneath the surface of this global lingua franca might be far more intricate, hinting at forces that echo ancient warnings and prepare the stage for something more significant than mere convenience. Yet, beneath the undeniable advantages of English, a subtle, profound shift is taking place, one that resonates with ancient warnings. For millennia, the world has been a vibrant tapestry of languages, each a unique vessel of culture, history, and identity. But with English's ascent, this diversity is under threat. Languages, once vibrant and deeply rooted, are vanishing at an alarming rate, taking with them irreplaceable knowledge, unique ways of seeing the world, and millennia of human experience. This is not merely the loss of words, it is the erosion of distinct cultural souls, a monoculture, the effect that simplifies the human experience into a singular, dominant expression. The rich, complex echo of Babel's division, intended to foster diverse nations, is slowly being muted. Furthermore, as English becomes the default language for global discourse, it carries with it more than just vocabulary. It transports the underlying frameworks of Western thought, perspectives, and ideologies. From international policy debates to academic research, the dominant voice is often one shaped by English-speaking cultures. This is not always a conscious imposition, but an inherent consequence of linguistic prevalence. English idioms, cultural references, and modes of reasoning subtly frame how global issues are understood, discussed, and ultimately resolved. Critics have termed this linguistic imperialism, not as an act of overt conquest, but as a pervasive, almost invisible, influence that subtly directs the flow of ideas and defines the very terms of engagement. Consider the immense power inherent in shaping global narratives. When a single language dominates international news, social media, and political speeches, those who control its major outlets gain an unparalleled ability to influence opinions, frame events, and even interpret history. How global crises are reported, which voices are amplified, and what perspectives are prioritized often hinge on the decisions made within English-speaking media empires. The potential for a singular perspective, consciously or unconsciously, to dominate the global conversation is undeniable. In this linguistic landscape, the question becomes, who truly controls the story? And what subtle biases or agendas might be embedded within the very language through which the world communicates? This subtle power extends to the very control of information. The vast majority of the Internet's infrastructure, its foundational code, and its most influential platforms were developed in English-speaking nations. This concentration inherently grants a significant advantage to those who speak and control the language. It creates a system where certain narratives can be amplified globally with unprecedented speed, while others might be suppressed or simply remain untranslated and therefore unseen. The dream of a truly free and open information age confronts the reality of linguistic gatekeepers, raising serious concerns about the potential for a single source of truth to emerge, a concept profoundly unsettling in light of biblical prophecy. The consequences of this linguistic dominance are not merely abstract. They manifest in a stark digital divide. For those in remote villages, for the elderly struggling with new technologies, or for entire regions with limited access to English education, the promise of global connectivity remains largely out of reach. English proficiency has become a prerequisite for full participation in the modern world, a key that unlocks access to education, economic opportunity, and the vast ocean of digital information. This creates a new class of the linguistically disenfranchised, exacerbating existing inequalities and raising questions about whether globalization, through its single dominant tongue, is truly uniting or inadvertently creating new forms of exclusion. So we must ask, is English merely a benign tool of convenience, an accidental superpower of communication, or could it be something far more profound, a Trojan horse, carrying a deeper, unseen agenda? While its benefits for connectivity and progress are clear, the subtle power it wields over culture, thought, and information cannot be ignored. The potential for a single language to facilitate not just communication, but also a unified global consciousness, echoes through the annals of sacred history. What if this linguistic globalization, this seemingly natural evolution, is actually preparing the ground for something ancient and unsettling? A transition to prophetic parallels suggests it might be. Across continents, a persistent human impulse echoes through time, from the grand halls of international summits to the utopian blueprints for future global cities. Humanity relentlessly pursues a singular vision: one world, one people. It is a powerful yearning for peace, for interconnectedness, for a shared future. Yet this aspiration, however noble it may seem, carries a subtle, unsettling resonance. It is the deep-seated desire to erase divisions, to overcome fragmentation, and to unite under a common banner. But what if this longing, this drive for universal unity, is not always aligned with a divine purpose? What if this pursuit, so seemingly benign, harbors the seeds of a rebellion foretold long ago? The Bible, however, reveals a stark warning concerning such universal unity. In the prophetic book of Revelation, a chilling framework emerges: a future global authority, a single world government, and an integrated economic system. Revelation chapter 13 describes a time when a powerful beast will rise, exerting control over every tribe, people, language, and nation. This coming global dominion will demand universal compliance, with no one able to, quote, buy or sell unless he has the mark. This is not merely a political or economic forecast. It is a prophetic blueprint for a system designed to consolidate all power, all trade, and all allegiance under a single overarching authority. This framework provides the chilling context for any unifying force that binds the world together. Now, consider the unparalleled ascent of English. Imagine, for a moment, English not just as a convenience, but as the ultimate catalyst for this prophesied global system. With communication barriers removed, the path for ideological dissemination becomes terrifyingly clear. A single message, A single narrative can now reach every corner of the earth without the friction of translation. English becomes more than a lingua franca. It functions as the operating system for a globalized world, enabling seamless command and control. Every instruction, every decree, every piece of information, every persuasive argument can be broadcast and understood universally. It is the perfect conduit for the rapid establishment of a truly interconnected and therefore easily controlled global order. In this light, the globalization of English takes on a profoundly different meaning. It is not merely a modern phenomenon, but an echo, a powerful resonance of the ancient impulse seen at Babel. Just as humanity once sought to build a tower to the heavens, united by one language in defiance of God's command to scatter, so too does a unified global language, within a context of singular ambition, set the stage for a new challenge to divine order. The spirit of Babel, once judged and divided, seems to be reawakening, subtly weaving itself into the very fabric of our interconnected world. It is the ancient prophecy finding a modern, chilling echo. Yet, as the world hastens towards this unprecedented linguistic unity, ancient texts whisper warnings. The book of Revelation speaks not only of a unified global system, but also of its spiritual dangers. It describes a powerful entity, Babylon the Great, a symbol of a corrupt worldly system that will dominate nations. From its pages echoes an urgent divine command. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. This is a call to spiritual separation, a clear directive against uncritical assimilation into systems that, despite their outward appearance of progress and unity, defy divine order. The stakes are immense, for in such a world, choosing alignment becomes choosing destiny. This global unity, propelled by the common tongue of English, presents a compelling yet deceptive facade. It is a counterfeit peace, a human-engineered harmony built not on divine reconciliation, but on control and a shared ambition that mirrors Babel's original rebellion. The illusion of progress and convenience, of seamless global cooperation, can mask deeper spiritual issues. This is a unity born of human ingenuity and necessity, yet it risks becoming spiritually sterile, lacking the true God-centered bond that transcends language and culture. We are warned against being seduced by global promises that offer worldly solutions while subtly eroding spiritual discernment. In these times, believers face a profound call to separate, not from the world itself, but from its ungodly systems and ideologies. It is paramount to maintain a distinct spiritual identity, rooted in Christ, amidst the homogenizing pressures of a globalized world. Individual faithfulness and vibrant communal worship become fortresses against conformity. Resisting the lure of global narratives that defy God means finding true unity not in a common language, but in the shared spirit that connects diverse tongues and cultures under the banner of Christ. This is the path to resilience, a joyful defiance in a world eager to merge into one. For God's ultimate plan is not a new Babel, where humanity speaks one language and serves one earthly power. His vision is far grander, far more inclusive. Revelation chapter 7 verse 9 paints a glorious scene. A great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. This is not a coerced uniformity, but a redeemed diversity, where every tongue and culture finds its voice in unified worship of the Creator. God's plan is not to homogenize, but to sanctify and celebrate the richness of His creation. The story does not end in a single, controlling language, but in a multilingual choir, glorifying God forever. Yet the story of English, like all powerful forces, holds a dual nature, a profound paradox. While it bears the shadow of Babel, it also presents an unprecedented opportunity for divine purposes. For centuries, the very language that now unites much of the world has served as a powerful instrument for the spread of the gospel. It has enabled missionaries to cross continents, communicating the eternal truth to diverse peoples. Through English, countless Bible translations have reached millions, unlocking Scripture for new generations. Global Christian conferences, online Bible studies, and theological education now connect believers from every nation, fostering a shared understanding of faith that transcends local dialects. In this light, English becomes not merely a global tongue, but a conduit for redemption, a vessel carrying the message of hope to the farthest corners of the earth, proving that even a global phenomenon can be wielded for good. But this unifying power, while beneficial for the gospel, also carries a profound risk. For if English can spread truth, it can just as easily disseminate deception. In an interconnected world, a single dominant language becomes an extraordinarily potent vehicle for false narratives, misleading news, and seductive globalist rhetoric. The persuasive power of global media, amplified by a common tongue, can subtly erode foundational truths and biblical values, replacing them with ideologies designed to conform humanity to a different agenda. This is the cautionary aspect, the vigilant warning that echoes through prophecy. A global language, while appearing as a tool of progress, can become a Trojan horse, delivering agendas that align with the very end times prophecies we are called to discern. As the world increasingly speaks with one voice, a deeper call resonates for those who follow the divine plan. The urgent need for spiritual discernment. For believers, the globalization of English, like all global trends, demands not fear, but profound vigilance. We are called to test the spirits and to be sober, be vigilant, understanding that the Holy Spirit empowers us to perceive truths hidden from the world. In the quiet moments of prayer and deep study of Scripture, we find the wisdom to navigate these complex times, prepared and watchful, rather than consumed by alarm. This is not a time for passive observation, but for active spiritual engagement, anchoring our understanding in the unchanging Word. We are living in times when prophecies unfold quietly, and what once seemed ancient is now more alive than ever. So where do you think we stand in this story? Do you see signs of these prophecies, of a world unifying its voice, in today's headlines? The relevance of these ancient texts to our modern reality is undeniable. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to discern the spiritual currents beneath the waves of global change, and to understand our place in God's greater narrative. After everything you've heard, how do you believe the globalization of English is shaping our world and fulfilling its prophetic role today? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. And if you'd like us to keep exploring how current events connect with biblical prophecy, give this video a thumbs up and share it. This lets us know we should continue uncovering more prophecies unfolding right before our eyes. And if you're ready to dive even deeper, click right now on the video you see on your screen. In these times, understanding is more essential than ever. Blessings.